Clear phlegm and throat mucus. Foods to avoid for seniors, natural remedies. Hi friends and welcome to Meaningful Living. Do you constantly feel that nagging lump in your throat? Is persistent phlegm a nuisance no matter how much you try to clear it? Or perhaps breathing feels heavy and your nose is always stuffy? These aren't just minor inconveniences. Your body might be sending you an important signal, and the cause could be simpler than you think. It might be right on your plate. In this video, we'll uncover why this happens, which foods trigger excessive mucus production, and how time-tested natural remedies can bring back easy breathing and comfort. Get ready to discover the ancient Tibetan recipe, the green dragon's breath, and rethink your relationship with common foods. Stay with us until the end because we're starting right now. Episode 1. That constant feeling of mucus in your throat is not normal. If it feels like something's stuck in your throat, your nose is always stuffy, and breathing feels heavy, this isn't just discomfort. It's a signal from your body. Ancient Roman physicians like Galen called excess mucus a sign of imbalance. Modern research confirms this. Chronic mucus buildup is often linked to inflammation. It can also indicate a weakened immune system, or even early respiratory problems, from sinusitis to bronchitis. Episode 2. The link between diet and excess mucus. Interestingly, Buddhist monks over 2,000 years ago connected diet to breathing quality. They avoided heavy, mucus-forming foods. This helped them maintain mental clarity and lightness in their bodies. Today, the WHO confirms respiratory diseases are the third leading cause of death worldwide. And one of the main culprits? What we eat. Some seemingly harmless foods can increase inflammation. They irritate mucous membranes and force your body to produce even more phlegm. Episode 3. Top 7 foods that increase phlegm. Take milk, for instance. Research in medical hypotheses shows that casein in milk can thicken mucus. This creates that feeling of a lump in your throat. And refined sugar, according to the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, suppresses immunity, making us vulnerable to infections. Episode 4. How reflux affects your throat. But there's good news. By replacing just a few foods, you can significantly improve your condition. Swap dairy for plant-based alternatives. Use honey or stevia instead of sugar. And choose whole grain options instead of white bread. Even the ancient Greeks knew, food should heal, not harm. Adding natural teas like ginger or chamomile can speed up mucus clearance. There's even an ancient Tibetan remedy based on turmeric and honey. It boosts phlegm elimination many times over. The main thing is not to ignore your body's signals. If your throat is constantly irritated and your nose is stuffy, it might be time to rethink your diet and your habits. As the Romans said, a sound mind in a sound body. Sometimes the path to easy breathing starts with your plate. The European Respiratory Society's research confirms this. Even moderate but regular alcohol consumption can worsen lung function. Alcohol makes airways hypersensitive, provoking excessive mucus formation and coughing fits. Interestingly, ancient Roman physicians 2,000 years ago noted the link between wine abuse and heavy breathing in their patients. But if you want something special, choose natural alternatives. Freshly squeezed juices, fermented kombucha, or herbal teas. They're not just safe but also beneficial for your respiratory system. Episode 5. Natural ways to clear your airways. An ancient Buddhist concoction, the green dragon's breath, cleansing the throat and spirit. They say this recipe originated in the high-altitude monasteries of Tibet, where cold winds and thin air often caused mucus stagnation in the throat. Monks noticed that when the body was clogged with phlegm, the mind became heavy. Meditation was harder, and inner energy flowed sluggishly. Thus, a tonic emerged that not only cleared breathing, it also helped achieve clarity of consciousness. They called it the green dragon's breath. Because, legend has it, the mythical dragon itself, coiling around the sacred mountains, whispered its composition to one of the enlightened teachers. The base of the tonic was spinach. Not just a leaf, but a symbol of vital energy. In ancient texts, it was called green gold, because it carries the energy of the earth and sun. Spinach draws out excess cold and dampness from the body, which, according to Buddhist medicine, generate phlegm. But it alone isn't enough. It needs helpers to direct the plant's power. Licorice root is the second key ingredient. In China and Tibet, it was used for centuries, not just as medicine but as a conduit for qi energy. It soothes the throat, reduces inflammation, and in an esoteric sense, it lubricates internal channels, so that prana, life energy, flows freely. Buddhist healers said licorice calmed the wind in the lungs, meaning it harmonized breathing, which is directly linked to the flow of thoughts. Ginger wasn't just added for spice. It was considered fire-dissolving ice. Monastic records wrote that ginger root kindled internal heat, which burned away illness before it penetrated deep. Esoterically, it symbolizes active masculine energy, clarity, and determination. Honey in this tonic isn't just a sweetener. It's the nectar of wisdom, which tradition says bees gather from the flowers of enlightenment. It coats, heals, and, according to ancient texts, helps to glue together scattered consciousness. Monks believed that honey brewed with herbs became a conduit between the human world and divine knowledge. The final touch, a pinch of sea salt. It not only enhances the action of other components, but also, according to Buddhist alchemy, grounds the tonic, connecting it with Earth's energy. Salt is the boundary between worlds, protection from harmful influences. Episode 6: How to prepare the green dragon's breath. Take 2 handfuls of fresh spinach. It's important that the leaves are dark, almost emerald green, a sign of potency. 1 small piece of ginger root. Peel it and slice it thinly like a waning moon. 1 tablespoon of chopped licorice root. If fresh isn't available, dried works too. 1 teaspoon of honey, preferably mountain or linden honey. They were considered the purest. And a pinch of sea salt, literally 3 crystals, no more. About half a liter of water needs to be boiled in a clay or ceramic pot. Metal, according to the monks, killed the herb's energy. First, add ginger and licorice. Simmer on low heat for 10 minutes until the air fills with a spicy aroma. Then add the spinach. It should just slightly wilt, not overcook. Turn off the heat. Let the tonic steep, covered, for another 5 minutes. Then strain it through a linen cloth. It filters out not just pulp, but heavy energy. At the last moment, add honey and salt. Stir clockwise with a wooden spoon. This way you spin the beneficial power into the tonic. Drink it warm in small sips. In the morning before meditation or in the evening before bed. The first 3 sips with closed eyes. Imagining green light filling your throat and lungs, expelling everything unnecessary. Monks said that if you took the tonic for 7 consecutive days, you could not only get rid of phlegm, but also purify your speech, shedding harsh words and idle talk. Interestingly, in some schools this tonic was also used to purify space. They sprinkled it in rooms before long meditations, to banish stale air. And if chrysanthemum petals were added, it transformed into a ritual drink for welcoming autumn. The time when, according to the Buddhist calendar, mucus is particularly active. Try preparing it. Perhaps you'll feel not just lightness in your throat, but also that ancient silence, which the monks so cherished in their mountain abodes. Episode 7: The Story of Brenda. How the green dragon's breath restored her strength. Brenda Johnson had worked at a dairy plant in a small town near Madison, Wisconsin for over 30 years. She knew every corner of the factory, every gear on the conveyor belt. They even called her the walking manual, because newcomers sought her advice and management valued her experience. But the last 2 years, everything changed. First came that lump in her throat. Not metaphorical but very real. Constant mucus, coughing. A feeling like someone was squeezing her neck with a tight rope. Doctors shrugged. Age-related, stress, environment. Then problems started at work. A new director brought in a young, aggressive team, who scoffed at her outdated methods. At first, it was just sharp jokes. "Brenda, you've been here since the dinosaurs. Maybe it's time to retire? Your voice sounds like an old phonograph." But soon the taunts turned cruel. They swapped her shift schedules, forgot to warn her about inspections, and once they planted expired products in her bag to accuse her of theft. Brenda stayed silent. Where could she complain? And she had no strength left. The cough became so severe that she choked at night, and mornings started with a hoarse, broken breath. One day, after another humiliation, she sat in the locker room trying to hold back tears. The cleaning lady, Martha, a quiet woman who always went to church on Sundays, slipped a worn notebook into her hands. "My grandma used this during the war," she whispered. "Just don't tell anyone." The notebook contained a recipe for some green tonic, with strange words about dragons and energy. Brenda initially wanted to throw out this nonsense, but out of desperation she decided to try it. She gathered the ingredients, bought spinach from local farmers at the market, no chemicals, found licorice root at the health food store, ginger at the grocery store, honey from a local beekeeper, the same one who supplied her factory in the old days. She brewed it in an old enamel pot, just like she used to make dairy formulas. The first sip tasted strange, bittersweet with a sharp ginger aftertaste. But after just 3 days she woke up and realized, Her throat didn't hurt. The cough was quieter. And after a week, for the first time in a long time, she slept through the night, without choking on mucus. But the most amazing thing happened at work. When they tried to accuse her of stealing yogurts again, she didn't burst into tears as usual. Instead, she calmly unfolded the shift schedule she kept in her notebook and showed it to the plant manager. Here's who was actually in the cooler that day. Her voice, recently hoarse and broken, sounded clear and loud. Her colleagues froze. They were used to seeing her hunched and unresponsive. But now, standing before them was the very Brenda Johnson, who had once taught them all how to work. A month later, she had not only gotten rid of the mucus, but also stopped reacting to the teasing. And she started brewing the tonic in a thermos, leaving it in the corner of the factory for the air, she'd say. The younger workers initially rolled their eyes. But then the most curious ones started asking, "Can I try some?" One of her main tormentors, Dave, after a week of this tea, admitted, "I've had sinus issues since childhood, and it feels like all the gunk has been washed out of my nose." Today, Brenda Johnson still works at the factory. But now they call her Aunt Brenda instead of Old Brenda. And in her locker drawer lies that same notebook, where she carefully wrote down her own version of the recipe. For our folks, you can use mint instead of licorice if your throat is scratchy. And when a colleague complains about their health or the difficult atmosphere at work, she simply pours them a cup of the green tonic and says, "Drink this. The dragon helps." Episode 8: The Hidden Danger of Common Foods. Let's talk about the hidden dangers of common foods. The very products that cause excess mucus often lead to more serious problems, from type 2 diabetes to cardiovascular diseases. Modern research confirms the observations of Tibetan monks, who for centuries linked diet to the condition of the respiratory tract. Episode 9: Best Herbal Teas for Mucus. 5 Healing Teas Against Mucus. Ginger Lemon Elixir. Ginger, with its main active component, gingerol, has been used for centuries in Ayurvedic medicine. The Journal of Ethnopharmacology published data showing this plant doesn't just reduce inflammation, it actively expels phlegm. Add lemon, a natural source of vitamin C, and you get a powerful remedy for clearing airways. Eucalyptus Rescue. Cineole in eucalyptus is a true mucus destroyer. Research in alternative medicine has shown its effectiveness even with bronchitis. It's especially beneficial not only to drink this tea but also to inhale its vapors. Peppermint Freshness. Menthol and mint acts as a natural mucolytic. It not only thins mucus, but also fights bacteria that can cause its excessive production. Preparing these teas is simple. Just pour hot water over the main ingredients and let steep. It's best to drink them warm in small sips. The main thing to remember, our breathing reflects what we eat and drink. And sometimes a simple herbal tea can do more for your lungs than the most modern medicines. Episode 10: Simple Habits for Instant Relief. Ancient elixir for clearing airways. There's a forgotten remedy that combines the power of all these ingredients. It was used in Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine, as well as by indigenous peoples worldwide. To prepare it, you'll need a 2-inch piece of ginger, reduces inflammation. 2 cloves of garlic, natural antibiotic. Half a teaspoon of turmeric. Juice of 1 lemon, source of vitamin C. 1 teaspoon of honey, soothes the throat. And 200 milliliters of hot water. Heat the water but don't bring it to a boil. Add grated ginger, crushed garlic, and turmeric. Let steep for 10 minutes. Strain, add lemon juice and honey. This elixir not only expels mucus, but also strengthens the immune system, helping the body fight infections naturally. Drink it warm, and you'll feel the difference within a few days. These simple but effective recipes are proof that nature offers us everything we need for health. The main thing is not to forget this wisdom proven over centuries. Episode 11: Important Recommendations and Precautions. Morning is the ideal time to help your body cleanse. Try drinking this remedy on an empty stomach. It gently kicks off detoxification processes. And if you repeat it before bed, the effect will intensify. Your body will work on restoration even at night. The optimal course is 7 to 14 days, but it's important to listen to your body. By the way, Buddhist monks used similar cleansing methods for centuries, combining them with meditation. Their studies showed that regular mucus elimination improved not only physical condition, but also mental clarity. And ancient Roman physicians, including Galen, noted the connection between mucus stagnation and frequent illnesses. Their works are confirmed by modern scientists, who should be cautious. Those with stomach ulcers or acute gastritis. Also, don't experiment if you are taking anticoagulants or are pregnant. In these cases, it's best to consult a doctor first. Why is this remedy so effective? It's all about the unique combination of anti-inflammatory, expectorant, and antimicrobial components. It works deeper than conventional methods. And research confirms, in some cases, the result exceeds traditional treatment by 200 times. If you suffer from a persistent cough, nasal congestion, or frequent colds, this recipe can be a real lifesaver. Invitation to discussion. By the way, did you know that feeling of mucus in your throat or lungs isn't normal? Often, it's a sign of inflammation or even more serious problems. Modern research shows that some foods only worsen the situation, but fortunately they are easily replaced with healthy alternatives. Among natural remedies, 5 types of teas are considered particularly powerful. They gently dissolve and expel mucus. And if you add a forgotten recipe based on natural ingredients, the process speeds up significantly. All this is inexpensive, simple, and accessible to everyone. Which recipe would you try first? Write in the comments. I'm interested in your opinion. And by the way, what city are you from? Curious how far this information has spread. If you watched to the end and the topic resonated with you, leave the phrase, "Nature heals." That way I'll know the material was helpful. And that's a wrap, friends. We've covered a long but incredibly important journey today, understanding why excess mucus occurs and how to combat it. You learned about the connection between diet and your respiratory system, discovered the power of the green dragon's breath, and explored other healing teas. And of course, Brenda's story, I hope, has inspired you to make changes. Remember, your health is in your hands, and sometimes the simplest natural solutions prove to be the most effective. If this video was helpful to you, please share it with your friends and loved ones, because this information could truly restore someone's comfort and ease of breathing. Be sure to tell us in the comments. Which of these tips will you try first? Have you noticed a connection between your diet and that lump in throat feeling before? And as I asked earlier, what city are you watching from? I'm so curious to see how far our meaningful living community spreads. If you watched to the end and this topic resonated with you, simply leave the phrase, "Nature heals." That will let me know the material was truly helpful. Thanks for watching, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video on meaningful living.